A very good evening to all of you watching MRU TV. This is Kiyemba Muniru with Poko News. To join us, just subscribe to our media channels, that is Twitter, Facebook and YouTube at MRU TV Kakeka Mengo. Let's get the news headlines. Two shot dead in Myanmar's protest. Libya's interior minister escapes assassination attempt. Gunfire in Mogadishu as streets sealed off. In Asia, at least 2 people have been killed and 20 rushed in the hospital while injured in the protest in Myanmar against a military coup, and the worst violence yet in more than 2 weeks and 4 days in demonstration. Let's hear from Kiyemba Muniru.
Security forces crack down on anti-coup demonstrators in Mandalay, and at least 2 people have been killed and several wounded and rushed to the hospitals when security forces opened fire to disperse people protesting against the country's military coup. The deaths on yesterday marked the bloodiest day in more than 2 weeks of large demonstrations against the February 1 military takeover, which disposed civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi. The military authorities have responded with increasing forces to the protests, deploying troops against peaceful rallies and firing tear gas, water cannons, and rubber bullets, with isolated incidents of live rounds being used. According to United Kingdom Foreign Minister Dominic Raab said his country will consider further action against those involved in violence against people protesting in Myanmar's coup. The shooting of peaceful protesters in Myanmar is beyond the pale, and he will consider further action with international partners against those crushing democracy and choking dissent.
Individuals already subject to targeted sanctions by the UK. We've added 3 further names today.
According to protester Kin Miao Miao O said there are possibilities of many people dying, and they can't even know whether they will die or not, but they will need to fight until the end regardless of their lives in order to succeed, and thus only they will get rid of military dictatorship. Kiyemba Muniru, MRU TV.
Libya's interior minister Faith Bashangas narrowly escapes an assassination attempt on Sunday on his way back home near a highway in a Tripoli city of Libya. Let's hear from Nangoli Eva.
Libya's powerful minister survived an assassination attempt after his motorcade came under fire outside the capital. Sources close to him. Faith had finished a meeting on Sunday with the chairman of the National Oil Corporation and was returning to Tripoli, the seat of the internationally recognized government of National Accord (GNA), when his convoy came under attack. The 50-year-old escaped unharmed. A source said one of the assassins was killed in the attack while 2 others were arrested. It has in recent months drawn the ire of several armed groups in Tripoli after announcing plans to demobilize militaries and integrate them into formal apparatus. Libya has been aimed at conflict since the 2011 NATO-backed uprising against long-time ruler Gaddafi. The North African country, significant oil produce, has been divided between the GNA and a regular administration in the east. Both are supported by international actors. By Nangoli Eva, MRU.
An armored car truck on a street sealed off to prevent the protesters over a delayed vote in Somalia. Let's get the full story from Nakamate Eva.
Gunfire in Mogadishu as street sealed off. An armored truck on a street sealed off to prevent protests over a delayed vote in Somalia. A gun battle has erupted in Mogadishu as Somalia government forces sealed off streets to prevent protests over delayed elections. Hours after fighters loyal to the government exchanged gunfire with those loyal to the political opposition. Somalia's former president, Sheikh Sharif, accused government troops of attacking a hotel where he was staying with another former president ahead of Friday's rally. Somalia's Minister of Security, Hassan, accused the opposition of starting the fighting in a spirit of political rivalries into open conflict will dismay Somalia's allies, which amounts attacks in civilians in East Africa in its bind to impose strict Islamic law. Nakamate Eva, MRU TV.
The director of RTHK, Radio Television Hong Kong, the only publicly funded broadcaster on Chinese soil, was replaced after government reviews slammed editorial deficiencies. Let's get the full story from Sajabi Arthur.
The targeting of Radio Television Hong Kong (RTHK), the only independent publicly funded broadcaster on Chinese soil, comes amid broader pressure on media freedoms in the Asian Financial Center, where authorities have floated the idea of fake news laws and have begun to block access to a small number of websites. Last week, RTHK pulled programming from the BBC, echoing a move by Beijing which took the broadcaster off air following a critical report about human rights abuses against China's Uyghur minority. RTHK's director of broadcasting, Leng Kawing, explained he was forced to follow Beijing's lead as Hong Kong is part of China and his media outlet is part of the government. The public broadcaster has long been a rare example of a government-funded news organization operating on Chinese soil that fearlessly attempts to hold officials.
Bobi Wine, known as Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who disputed in January election results, say the accounts are not independent as he withdraws his case. Let's get the full story from Kabuye Shafik.
Bobi Wine says he is withdrawing a court case challenging presidential election results that handed victory to incumbent Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, alleging bias by the Supreme Court hearing the case. Speaking to a news conference in the capital city of Uganda, Kampala, on Monday, Bobi Wine says that he had decided to withdraw his case, claiming that the courts are not independent but just are working for Museveni. Bobi Wine, whose real name is Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, rejected the results of the January presidential elections and said that he believed victory was stolen from him. Bobi Wine had asked the court to overturn the results on several grounds, including the widespread of use of violence. Museveni, who had led Uganda since 1986, was declared the winner of the January 14th election with
28-year-old man died after a device meant to be used at a gender review party exploded. The police responded to a report of an explosion before noon on Sunday. Christopher Pinky of a Ribalet, New York building. Pinky's 27-year-old brother, Mike Pinky, was injured and taken to a nearby hospital. Police didn't give further information on what kind of device it was, except that it was not intended to harm others. MRU TV, Lubogos TV.